Hi, everybody. This is Tara, and
And Bill?
yep, and we're from tarasindependentvoice.com or right here on YouTube at TIV space Tara's Independent Voice. We are here to talk about tonight's episode of The Walking Dead, which was season 8, episode 4, and it was really tragic for a lot of reasons. Bill, do you want to start out and say what kind of, this is spoilers. This this season cannot be spoiler free. There's just no way when you're reporting on it, even when you're just talking about it.
Well, yeah, the group in the kingdom was just decimated. Starts off with only one person left alive, and then two, and then back to one and to two. So out of the group, there's two alive.
That's right. And they do lose a major member of the group that didn't actually start off in the one and then two and then one and two. You want to talk about Shiva?
Oh, and Shiva, that was a big sad one. Shiva's dead.
Yeah, we lost Shiva tonight. However, Shiva died the way she probably would have wanted to die. Shiva died protecting the king, King Ezekiel, who loved her for all those years and kept her safe. And she worked for her food very extremely well. She protected the king like no other animal on earth probably would have or could have. And it was a breath of fresh air even when the whole kingdom came along, because Ezekiel was this positive, bright, I'm okay, you're okay, and there's nothing on the outside that can hurt us type of person. Of course, we found out last season that wasn't quite the truth, because King Ezekiel was being pinched by none other than the devil Negan, and as were, all of our groups that we know of were. And so, yeah, it was hard losing Shiva. We did learn something in losing Shiva, and that knowledge is that Walker, and I read some of the things people put online, their what they think is going to happen the next show. What do they think this means and that means? And sometimes people are just overthinking it, and I understand that because I tend to overthink things. But I've kind of stopped thinking during the week because that's I'm kind of getting. It's hard for me to say this. I'm kind of getting, like, instead of looking forward to the show, I'm being afraid to watch the show. Because we lose somebody every season, but this year, probably leading up to season 9, I don't know if this show will go past season 9. And the reason I say that is because of the type of show it is. And while it's not a pure zombie show, it is a show about humanity at the worst of circumstances. In the meantime, trying to fight off these devils. It's zombies are kind of going by the wayside. They got a big kick in the pants when World War Z came out. World War Z 2 is kind of falling flat on its face right now. Brad Pitt has a lot on his plate. He had a major divorce, a major fight for custody of his kids, and pretty much a major everything you can imagine. But so I don't know where World War Z. At first, someone online said yes, it's being filmed now. I found out that's not true, and I will go into that again this week and see what I can find out. It would be nice because it would give Walking Dead another shot in the arm, because it could bring new people that maybe weren't watching the show because they don't think it's quality, and people have kids, and during the summer, if they're up late, you can't be watching The Walking Dead. That's why they replay it at a later time during the night, so that you can watch it without your kids being around. I wanted to say that this episode to me seemed funny, and the reason it seemed funny is because you usually don't see two major storylines going at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Do you think I missed that, or do you think it's true? I mean, we have two major horror stories. We had two major stories going at the same time. We have actually we have three. We had the fact that Ezekiel pumped his people up like there was no tomorrow last episode, and then this episode we find out that for most of them there was no tomorrow. Two people survived, two people out of everybody he took, and when he walked back into the compound with nobody but the one person, might as well save that. Don't he patted the one young boy on the hand, on the shoulder, and kept going. He didn't even address the people, and he told, you might as well know, it was Jerry. He told Jerry that he was not his king, he was not his majesty, and of course, this, as bummed out as Jerry already was, Jerry thinks a lot of Ezekiel, and Ezekiel is just crestfallen. I don't know how else to put it. What do you think?
Yeah, that's about right. He's a broken man right now.
Yeah, we've seen broken men in the in The Walking Dead before, and they produce people like the governor and people like possibly Negan, but I don't see Ezekiel going to the dark side at all. There's a possibility that he could possibly go after Negan alone, like for a one-on-one. I don't think that'll happen. There's just so much going on. So as soon as we had as soon as we had Jerry, who was trying to take Negan, we had Carol, who was being shot at, and she had to try to get the guns, those three great big 50 millimeter guns that are going to go to that were going to go to Sanctuary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she can't have that. So she was going to go get the guns or stop them. There's no way she could get the guns. Maybe if she could get in the truck that was driving, but that ship kind of sailed. But Carol did help save Ezekiel. And then when they thought all was lost, the truck left with the guns, and then we find that we're not all lost. Enter two other major characters, and they stop the guns. What we do find out with Ezekiel, Jerry, and Carol trying to make their escape from the Savior's compound where the guns were is that the one walker, and the thing everybody was saying that, that one walker you killed with the stretched out skin, that skin was stretched out and taken off for the Whisperers. And that was all over the place. That was fact. That was the God's stamp. You know, it was in a it was an undeniable fact. Well, in fact, it was not a fact. In fact, it was that they have what looks like a toxic waste dump, and there was actually um, several walkers in it that looked like they were kind of stuck and just stomping. And they did look like the walker they shot, where somebody said, "Oh, that's a weird walker," or whatever, and Carol said, "We don't have time to go into that right now." So I don't know what the issue was with her. Did she already know that there were walkers that looked like that and didn't think anything about it? But whatever everybody thought was, it was the beginning of the Whisperers. And I don't think they would bring in the Whisperers, which I don't read the comics, but I have read exactly what the Whisperers are. I'm sorry, did I hurt your arm? Remove it. But I've read online what everybody puts, and the fact that maybe that is where Fear the Walking Dead is going to cross over. We've already been told by one of the showrunners that this is the season where Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead will intersect. We don't know how, when, why, and a lot of people are thinking Kimberly, is that her name? Will be the leader of the Whisperers. I don't know. What I do know is that zombie was not one of the Whisperers. So those are the things that are kind of going on. We did not see Negan tonight. I believe next week Negan has a big part in the episode. We also see that he gets out of the situation he's in. We don't know what happens to Father Gabriel. I believe Father Gabriel made his bed a long time ago, and that he should lay in it and take whatever punishment he has coming, because he's been a coward this whole time. Why change now? Oh, because you're stuck in with the Hitler of the world, and you're going to have to deal with that in some way. You're not going to preach yourself out of that one. Not with this guy. So what are you thinking now about is Negan, even though he's not there, is he still the one pulling the strings?
I think so. I can't see anything that tells me different.
Okay. Then this is what I want to ask you, and what I would have people think about. How come people know that Negan wants the widow, the king, and what do they call Rick? The whatever. How do we know who told him that and when? Why does the person who did his best to get the king to where he's supposed to go was somebody we'd never seen before. He was a flunky. He was in the background always, because I'd never seen him before. The only reason we know his name is because it was mentioned in the comic book and mentioned on Talking Dead. So how?
Well, it was mentioned in, I don't know if it was the first or second episode, that Negan wanted those three alive. This isn't the first time we've heard it.
But how do we know that's what they called them? Because we know who he wanted alive. We've always...
Well, that's what he calls Maggie, is the widow.
Okay.
And then the king is Ezekiel, and the other one's just plain Rick.
No, there's a name for him. I can't think of what it is. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking in the world that is The Walking Dead, if the leader is gone and nobody knows who it is, and we now know next week, we saw, if you watch a trailer from next week, Negan's loose, and he's he believes he has somebody inside. So that could kill my theory of it's Jesus. The guy that one of the guys, I don't remember who it was, just screamed today, Jesus, and I thought, see, he's saying it. But of course, that's just silliness. How many times a day do you say that? Oh God, or oh Jesus, oh geez, it's all the same. But I just wonder how come there's still such a group. People are still working on getting those guns, moving the guns, keeping them out of the hands of people who would turn them on the saviors and kill them all. But it would have to be over Jesus' dead body, and if he is what I thought he was, what I kind of still think he is, that would have to be how it would happen. Where are the wolves?
I don't know. We haven't seen them.
Are they like gonna come and attack? That's what they did last time. They just came out of nowhere. We knew they were there though. But you're right. Jesus looks like he could be one of them. And that doesn't mean he has to have a W on his forehead. If he was the leader, it would behoove him not to do that. It's a complicated thing, and what I've seen people do all this season is putting their reputation on the line as reporters, which I don't know a lot of them what their background is. I'm not willing to say this is the way I know it is, because it's not. I know some people say they're getting information, and I'll tell you what, if that was happening, that would get shut down so fast that it would make everybody's head swim, and there would almost be nobody on YouTube talking about The Walking Dead and the future. The next episode, if somebody was coming up with the information day after, week after week, and obviously that information is coming from somebody on the set, somebody in the cast, somebody in an office somewhere, somebody's in trouble. This is has been a big problem in Hollywood, starting with the internet. Actually, before that, it was, if you read the Inquirer, and back then a lot of people did. My mom thought the Inquirer was the LA Times. If it was in the Inquirer, they wouldn't lie to me. But so I'm thinking, I did see one person who had some really important things right, and I'm not gonna even tell you who it is. I'm not gonna make comments on their, it's not my business. But a lot of people did say that tonight's episode, or at least that those walkers would be the start of the Whispers, and I just don't think they are. And I believe, the grungy, yucky, toxic waste is how those zombies came to be. Is that your take on it?
Yeah. I don't know about the Whisperers. The toxic waste is going to come in and be something, it looks like, because they looked at it twice or 2 or 3 times on the show at the barrel. So
yeah,
there's going to be another story there.
There's something in the back of my mind about toxic waste, and I can't for the life of me think about what it is. We've seen 100 episodes, over 100 episodes now, and I really feel like there is something there that I'm forgetting about toxic waste, like where it was put, somebody who used it, somebody who had it. I don't remember. If anybody remembers and is watching this video, put it below or start a discussion on it, because I'm really interested in what that toxic waste was about. I mean, we may never see it again, but we may. You never know. And will that toxic waste make a different type of zombie? I mean, radiation is what every horror film of the 1950s and part of the 60s was about. So I really hope not, but excuse me. But it's kind of time to change up, I think, for them. And I was mentioning about season 9. I don't see them going past season 9. And I think that's why we're starting to see them show a possible afterlife for Rick and Judith and maybe even Gracie, Michonne. I just, and if it's going to be next season, uh, be the last, Rick wouldn't be that old. So it may indeed be something else. I swear if it turns out to be a story that, and this has been talked about everywhere, and I don't know if they're copying each other or what, but there's been such a story about how the very elderly now Carl is talking about his dad, and his dad's long gone, but Carl is that's why Rick gets out of every situation because Carl's telling a story about the beginning of the beginning of the the apocalypse and what a badass his dad was all the way to however far he goes. That's a possibility, of course, but I think that the showrunners have more guts than that. That's like, oh, we've done this great show. Let's just throw it away at the end. Let's do Dallas.
Yeah, I think it'll be something different. I don't think that's the case. We just saw in flashbacks that Rick was an older man in bed in a cane, and he's got his daughter, Michonne, and Carl there. So
was Carl there?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember Carl being there. But that's what I'm talking about, that flashback to where a possible end of the show and into the apocalypse. I don't know what people don't get by the meaning apocalypse, which is the complete destruction of everything. How do you restart after that? I don't know. Some people are living the high life while other people are starving to death and have no electricity. Other people have it. It's just all a big surprise every week now. And so I don't want to hear these guys who, if somebody knows, don't, I would rather hypothesize my silly idea about Jesus being the later of the saviors than hear somebody tell us exactly what's going to happen, because that's no fun. And that's not what a TV show is supposed to be. And that is why people were fired and sued and everything else when there was a small leak about the end of Dallas, or about the end of that season of Dallas. So, yeah. As far as the next episode, I don't think we will see too much of Carol and King Ezekiel. I'm still going to call him King Ezekiel because he's still King Ezekiel to me. And Jerry, I don't think we'll see them. We may see Daryl and Rick and some of the people from the other camps. But what we do know is that I believe they said it was somewhere in my head. I'm thinking they said in coming episodes, but it might have just been me not listening close enough. I think next week we're going to see Negan. We're going to see him finding people to put blame on who his idea of who's the the person who is cooperating with our guys.
Yeah, because it showed a round table with all his lieutenants there, and it showed Dwight as being handcuffed. So,
Well, we know Dwight knew it was happening, and we also know nothing gets by Negan. But this seemed different because Negan was basically in the in a walker surrounded trailer. Of course, that's easily, if you've got the men and the gunpowder, you can get that taken care of. It just depends on how many men they have left and where they're coming in. I don't know. I just think Dwight's days may be done. It doesn't look like he's the very high. I think he was the trash man of the camp, kind of like John Leguizamo was on Land of the Dead when he took out the trash and there was your friends in it. There it goes. And I think that basically that's what Dwight is. Jesus still has something up. If it's not the full on, this is, me, I run the sanctuary, then it's certainly something else. He may think he can handle everything and that it will be him that takes care of everybody and brings everybody together, but Negan is not going to allow that. If indeed Negan is in control, then whoever's in control of there, until there's a great big Lucille bopping all of them, then there's not going to be any handling the survivors, because if Negan's in control, everybody pretty much is dead already, at least a lot of people. And I just don't think that's going to happen. And I'm still predicting that season 9 will probably be the end of it, unless something happens to change that. Any last words?
no, just have to see how it goes, how it progresses in the season.
And we should see how it progresses, not be told by somebody who may or may not know. I don't know for sure. I'm telling you that. I was a lot more sure about it last week than I am this week. But we don't know what's gone on with Jesus and, the other 2 or 3 sets of people. So we'll see. It's going to continue being interesting. It's going to continue being gut-wrenching. And we're all here to watch it. So enjoy your week, and we'll meet here next Sunday and talk it out. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This is Tara.
Have fun. And Bill.
And Bill. Have fun. Bye.
Bye.